This is the story of one of the most prominent disciples of Buddha. Her name was Upalavana. As the followers of Dhamma kept on increasing, Buddha appointed 4 chief disciples to delegate routine operations of the Sangha. Sariputta and Moggallana were appointed male chief disciples, while Khema and Upalavana were appointed female chief disciples. Upalavana had exceptional teaching and administrative skills to manage the order of the nuns. She had also attained great spiritual powers. Her position in the Sangha was similar to that of Moggallana. Buddha instructed other nuns to follow her as their role model in the practice of the Dhamma. She was the daughter of a rich banker from Sravasti. The shade of her skin was like that of a blue lotus, and therefore she was named Upalavana, one who is of the color of a blue lotus. She was a beautiful young lady, and attracted by her beauty and charm, all the kings and rich merchants of India asked for her hand in marriage. Her father wanted to avoid creating a conflict by selecting a husband for her from the several powerful kings and merchants. He thought that the best solution might be to ask his daughter if she would be interested to join the order of the nuns of Buddha. Upalavana was also aspiring to become a disciple of Buddha and was working on the perfections for the last several births. She immediately agreed to the proposal from her father. Soon, she went to Sravasti and was ordained as a Bhikkhuni or a nun. The nuns at the monastery took turns carrying out the different activities at the monastery. Within 2 weeks after she was ordained, it was her turn to open and prepare the Uposatha or the confession hall. During the fortnightly Uposatha meetings, all the monks of a monastery assemble for mutual confession of offences and reaffirm the rules of the discipline. While the other nuns were out, she opened the hall and lit a lamp. She started sweeping the hall in the dim light. Her focus drifted to the lamp again and again. She sat down and concentrated her mind using the flame of the lamp as kasina, or the object of meditation. Gradually, she entered deeper states of concentration and attained enlightenment on that very night. She became an arhat and also gained many spiritual powers that night. One day, Upalavana was sitting under a sal tree and was in deep meditation. Mara, the evil one, approached her to disturb her meditation and frighten her. He told her that being a beautiful girl sitting alone in the forest in complete solitude, she must be afraid of the risk and leave the place immediately, as there was threat of attack by evil men. Upalavana understood that the person who had approached was Mara himself. She declared that she was not afraid of either Mara or any evil person. She was an enlightened arhat and understood his motives. Mara left the forest disappointed. She continued with her meditation. Later, she went into the Andhavan or the dark forest near Sravasti to lead a solitary life. She resided alone in a hut. At that time, it was not forbidden for nuns to reside alone in a forest. She had a cousin named Ananda, who was attracted to her since his childhood. He wanted to have her at any cost. When he learned that she had become a nun and was residing in the dark forest, he went to the forest in search of her. Arhat Upalavana was out on her arms round in Sravasti. He decided to hide under her bed and waited for her to return. She returned to the hut, unaware of the presence of a cousin and his evil motives. Suddenly, he jumped out and forced himself on her. Despite her protests and attempts to protect herself from the harm. After committing the crime, he left the hut quickly. But the moment he went outside of the hut, he was swallowed by the earth and was taken into the Avicii hell to suffer the consequences of his crime on an arhat. She told other nuns what had happened. The nuns told about the crime to the monks, and the monks told about it to Buddha. Upalauna was also concerned about its impact on her spiritual and monastic life. Buddha told that Upalauna did not break any monastic rule of chastity, since she gave no consent. Buddha approached the king Pasendi of Kaushal and discussed with him the vulnerability and threats for nuns residing alone in the forest. Buddha requested the king to make a monastery for the nuns near the city. King Pasendi built the new monastery and offered it to the nuns. The nuns, who had been residing alone in the forest, moved into the new monastery. A rule was made that prohibited the nuns to reside alone in the forest. Buddha said to the monks that as long as the evil deed does not bear fruit, the fool thinks it is sweet like honey. But when his evil deed does bear fruit, the fool suffers for it.